If you do over again, would you do it differently, Omar?
Would I do it differently?
Yeah.
I don't see how I could do it differently. I mean, Mike, I can easily do this, okay? After the San Diego trip, I could easily say, you know what?
Yeah.
It's time to make a change.
Right, and it would have been decisive. It looked last week like you couldn't make a decision, and that's why everyone is saying the Mets are classless and clueless and all this stuff right now, because they felt like you couldn't make a decision.
It wasn't about making a decision. It's you talking about I'm making a decision on a person, okay, that's very dear to me, okay? I mean, I've been wanting this to work out, because the reality is this is not only about the team is not performing not only because of Willie Randolph. I am as responsible as Willie Randolph because I give him the players. Okay? This is not only about Willie Randolph. I want this to work. I have vested interest in Willie being our manager and succeeding.
Omar, you can't say that this was handled well. I mean, you let the man you let the man get in a plane on Sunday night. You just won 3 out of 4, and the Mets make an announcement at 3:12 Eastern time on Monday morning, and then disappear for 14 hours. You can't tell New York fans. We've been dealing with it all day, Omar.
I understand.
You can't. Nobody believes you. You handled this, whether it's you or Mr. Wilpon.
No,
this was handled horrifically. At least you got to come down and say that's the case.
Okay, listen to me. Okay, after you heard the facts, and if you think that. Okay,
this
was decided and run by Omar Minaya, the general manager. Okay, and you have that right.
I'm a big fan. I like you, Omar. I'm a big fan, but
this
was not handled. You have to admit, Mike knows.
No,
this was handled horribly, Omar.
Willie wound up twisting in the wind, Omar. He needed to go last week. It didn't happen, but we found out you made the decision, which is the thing. And honestly, I think you have to, when you go back and look at it, I think you'll realize that you let him twist in the wind for a bunch of days here and made him look like a victim to the people. I mean, that's how he came off.
Mike, if he's twisting in the wind, okay, it means that a decision had been made. Am I correct?
No, his fate hadn't been made. He was sitting there every day having to answer every question about his future before the game and after the game, and you don't want to leave a manager in that position.
Exactly. And when did that start? That started on Friday.
Oh, no, it started for about a month and a half.
Okay, wait a minute.
Come on, it started for a long time.
It really started after the race comment.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Okay, wait a minute. It's been going on, but the reality is really stepped up this weekend. Okay?
Yes, that is true, but it was going on though a lot over the last couple of weeks.
You had a big meeting on Monday Memorial Day where we all thought Omar he may not survive that meeting with ownership because he didn't answer the phone. We all thought he could go then. This has been going on for 18, 19 days.
Okay, Chris, the media asked me, is Willie Randolph going to get fired in that meeting? Do you know what my response was?
You said no.
Okay, so he wasn't going to get fired. Who came up with the idea that he was going to get fired in that meeting?
Well, Omar, you told us Friday he wasn't going to get fired, and then after 2 out of 3 you fired him. I mean, come on now.
Wait a minute. Did I say to somebody on Friday that he was not going to get fired?
You said he had full support of the ownership and myself.
Okay, he has full support of the ownership. On Friday.
Well, hold on, Omar. Yeah, if you tell America or New York that your manager has full support of the GM and ownership on Friday afternoon,
yes,
and then you fire him after they won 3 of 4. Now, that's crazy. You won 3 of 4 after you said you got full support of your ownership. I could see if you lost 4 in a row. You won 3 of 4 after you said he has full support of ownership and myself. Now, that doesn't make any sense, Omar.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you look at it from 3 or 4, if I was to look at it on a window from 3 or 4, I agree with you. That does not make sense. As a general manager, I don't make decisions based upon series. As a general manager, I make decisions based upon a body of work. Last year, at the end of the season, I decided not to fire Willie Randolph, okay, based on the body of work of 2 weeks.
We agreed with that.
Well, what I'm saying is I decided, and back to speculations as far as Willie Randolph's getting fired, that has been going on talk all year. And as difficult as a decision it is, look, the main thing that I have to do here is to tell you the facts. And even yesterday, my biggest fear was that once I decided that Willie Randolph was going to be the manager, not going to be the manager, okay, that he was not going to be managing that game, that a reporter was going to tell him that information.
I understand, but you understand how it looks that fans feel he flew 3,000 miles to get fired. You understand,
listen,
and that looks
win.
Michael, I totally agree with you.
And people think, people don't like people getting treated that way. Omar, you know that.
Michael, I totally understand why people can feel that way, but I hope that, and I say this, I'm telling you the details of how the decision was made and why it was made and when it was made. Okay?
What did you say to Willie Randolph last night when you had a meeting with him?
I told Willie Randolph, I said, hey, Willie, I told you last night that I was going to find a way to have closure to this. You got to find out whether you're going to be our manager for the remainder of the year or you're not going to be our manager for the remainder of the year. Okay? And that being said, I thought about it, okay, and I decided that I'm going to make a change. I'm going to go with somebody else. But I wanted myself to tell you first. I didn't want nobody. I didn't want a source or something else to tell you that.
And what did he say to you?
What did he say to me?
If you could share it with us.
I mean, I think, you got to, one thing that me and Willie have always had, okay, he's always told me, Omar, just be straight with me, okay? And he looked at me and we talked about it. And, I think the fact that we had the conversation the day before, okay, he kind of was, I was telling him, I said, look, this, but we've been having conversation about this thing has to turn around, Willie. We got to turn this around. We're a better team than what we're playing.
We understand that, and I agree. You can't necessarily judge it on 3 out of 4, but don't like the timing of it.
I know we're tight on time. I got 2 other things I want to get to. One of them is Bernazard, and we keep hearing how Bernazard, who we know didn't get along with Willie, I even got guys telling me that Bernazard was even gloating yesterday about Willie and really was not very kind to Willie in his final hours. He works for you. There's been these comments for years about Bernazard undermining Willie Randolph. What's your comments about that? That's
not true. I mean, look, we're in the perception area right now where these things are being made. The fact of the matter is that Tony Bernazard is it's a big part of my team, of my staff. Tony Bernazard is an ex-Major League player. A lot of general managers have ex-Major League players around them. Tony Bernazard runs our minor leagues. Tony Bernazard, we bring players from one of the reasons we have a great recruitment of players coming in here is because of Tony Bernazard's relationship. Tony Bernazard and John Rico, my staff, we all.
Did he get along with your manager?
Who's that?
Did Bernazard get along with Willie Randolph?
Did he get along?
Yes, honestly.
Like a lot of relationships, Mike, sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Omar, how come you can pick Willie's staff and he can't pick yours?
What do you mean pick my staff?
You pick Willie's staff. You fired Rick. You fired Down. Willie didn't want that to happen.
Okay,
you fired Brown. And Willie came on and told us he was very disappointed. He didn't want that to happen. Yet he doesn't get an opportunity to pick your staff with guys that you may have that he doesn't like. How come?
Well, first of all, there's never been in the history of the game that a manager has picked.
He doesn't like Bernazard. Bernazard was sitting there with Jerry Manuel for an hour yesterday on the field talking to Manuel, and Willie's getting fired 9 hours later, Omar. Okay. And then when the reporter asked Bernazard, "Well, I thought you told me that Willie was going to be safe tonight," and the quote from Bernazard was, "I didn't say today." So Bernazard has got an issue with Willie, yet he's on a road trip when Willie's getting axed. Now you can't tell me that looks good.